I strongly believe that we can and must get a comprehensive immigration plan on my desk this year. The system we have in place has caused people to rely upon smugglers and forgers in order to do work Americans aren't doing. It is a system that frankly leads to inhumane treatment of people. And therefore the best way to deal with an issue that Americans agree on, that is that we ought to enforce our borders in a humane way, is we've got to have a comprehensive bill.
We are back with Leslie Marshall, nationally syndicated radio talk show host, and Terry Jeffrey, editor of Human Events. Immigration, tough issue. Mr. Bush put it in context of a more humane treatment of immigrants, legal and illegal. Leslie Marshall, do you favor the comprehensive immigration plan Mr. Bush is pushing?
Actually, this is one of the only areas that George W. Bush and I agree on anything. He actually sounds more like a liberal when it comes to immigration. Although we do need policies, Larry, we've had policies that haven't been enforced. I mean, really, there's been like a wink and a nod when it comes to law enforcement officials and immigration. Unfortunately, the United States, financially, which I know you really care about, has become quite dependent on illegal immigrant labor. I don't know how that's going to change. After the sweeps recently, what happened? The Swift Meat Corporation increased their prices. So we're definitely going to see a lot of problems in the fact that we've neglected for decades the immigration policies and laws on the books, and that they weren't enforced, and that these employers hiring these illegals weren't penalized.
Terry Jeffrey, as a conservative who has opposed immigration, will you take a second look at it, or will you renew your opposition, particularly after Mr. Bush's comments today?
Well, let me tell you about the thing that I most object to about the president's plan, Larry. He says we have to have a more humane policy. I agree with that. But he ought to be honest and say what he's really proposing is an amnesty, which I'm against. But by him setting up the guest worker program that he's proposed, what he is suggesting is that we have two classes of workers in the United States: citizens and permanent legal residents who can compete for one type of jobs, and guest workers who, by definition in the law that passed the Senate last year, would have to go for jobs where the pay was offered at such a low level Americans wouldn't take it. I believe in our free economy, every worker should be equal.
Doesn't he? That's fair enough, Terry, but doesn't Mr. Bush and Mr. McCain, for that matter, want to merge the two classes to give them equality?
Well, then why don't they just call it an amnesty? Why don't they just say we're going to let all these people be permanent legal residents and compete on an equal basis?
Leslie, give you the last word on the question of amnesty.
I don't consider a guest worker program amnesty. And what would you propose? Putting them on planes with no military or guard to help do that, no finances to fuel up the jets and fly them back to whatever country they came from? It's absolutely ridiculous. I have not seen anything proposed by the Republicans that is a better idea, and quite frankly, the president stands with the Democrats on this.
In one word, Leslie, will there be an immigration bill this year? One word, yes or no?
This year?
Yep.
No.
2007, meaning this year coming up, 2007. I'm going to give you a reprieve.
I think they will try, but I don't think it will pass in
Terry
2007.
Jeffrey, 2007, will there be an immigration?
It's going to be the biggest fight in the United States Congress early in the next year.
All right. Could be the greatest story never told. Anyway, Leslie Marshall, thank you. Terry Jeffrey, thank you. Up next, my last word.